To you, yes, indeed, you listening right now to your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. Good to have you here. And just in case something wants to take you away from your radio, if that's where you're listening, be sure to carry us with you still by downloading the app, Nigeria Info Abuja. And also following us across all our social media handles. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja right this minute. And we're also streaming via our website as well. Go to www.nigeriainfo.fm/Abuja. It is a Wednesday, the 8th day in the month of April. And as always, Wednesdays are special here on our station. It's the midweek special edition of Hard Facts, made all the more special by our guest, our father, our friend, our brother, our elder, Dr. Majid Dahiru, columnist and tech team leader at Lux Terra. Good to have you here, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Somi.
Welcome.
It's good to be back. I think I've been away for about 2 weeks now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yes. Okay.
Back.
Okay.
Good afternoon to our listeners.
Welcome, sir. All right. Let's just make sure that they are hearing you clearly. If you could just speak a little closer to them. Aha. Yes. All right. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
All right, listeners, let's go. Let's do hard facts together today, starting with the big three, which we're going to be looking at, taking us all the way again till 4:30, where we do the rest of the stories that didn't make it to the headlines, but by way of sound bites. When we're done with that, the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking The Woman today. Part 2, from where we stopped last week about failing forward, continues. And then in the 6 o'clock hour, we give you back the mic. We give you back the mandates, if you will, and let us know what it is you want to discuss. But for today, my name is Somi, and for all days, as SOMI, short for Apenosomi, welcoming you to the show. Let's get it started with what is happening in our political space, where early this morning we saw protests hit the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, specifically from the Maitama area, I think heading all the way to Federal Secretariat, and then ending up at INEC office. And what happened? A faction, one of the factions of the ADC, was said to have taken to the streets demanding that democracy in Nigeria be saved. Now, we know that there was the decision by INEC to de-recognize the David Mark-led faction of the ADC sometime last week. And after that, it's just been all over the place. Conversations going on as to how they can proceed, if they can proceed, and all of that. As a matter of fact, the chairman of INEC, Joash Amupiton, also had to take to a television station to address ADC after they had a world press conference demanding his immediate resignation, and also accusing INEC of undermining democracy and interfering in the internal affairs of political parties. In his response to that, Mr. Amupiton said that they were working with the court order, the one that said they were not going to work with any of the factions and asked them to maintain status quo antebellum. I believe that was the word that was used. And, he had to speak and say, look, whatever it is that you're doing, we're working with the decision of the court. And he also warned the party against proceeding with its planned congresses without the commission's supervision, citing the ongoing court proceedings. Mr. Amupiton said that a motion related to the dispute had yet to be determined, and cautioned that any action taken in defiance of the court order will attract grave legal consequences. And he pointed to precedents in Zamfara State and Plateau States where failure to comply with court orders led to the nullification of electoral victories, which candidates who initially came second were eventually declared winners. So this is the back and forth that has been going on between the ADC and INEC that led to the protest that we saw today. As a matter of fact, just before I came on air, word is that INEC has received a petition, because that's what the protest ended in. A petition given to INEC Details of the petition were not clear, but we know that the ADC, with the David Mark-led faction of the ADC, is also asking that Amopiton step aside. Now, you would think that they have enough issues on their hands and, let them just deal with that and let's see how we can move forward. Only for today, word also coming out that there is another faction that has come out in the ADC to say, yes, the David Mark-led faction is not constitutionally recognized by the party, and according to the news reports, it is a number of state chairmen of the party leadership across states in Nigeria that have come out together, and some reports have it that these state chairmen actually are in support of Dumebi Kachuku, who is the presidential candidate who was a presidential candidate for the ADC in 2023. So while we are trying to deal with, is it Nafiu Bala or is it David Mark, we have had another faction come out of the ADC. Dr. Majid, I'm sure what is happening in the ADC is, I don't know, is it surprising to you? Let me start from there. Is it surprising to you? And if not, what do you make of the current developments in the party? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Why? Why is it not surprising?
If you look at the way Amana, those who left the APC and the PDP and decided to take over the ADC, the way Amana it was done, except you are not a observer of Nigerian politics, you would know that definitely it will develop complications along the way. Definitely. So, but I would like to treat the legal angle first,
okay,
go to the political.
All right.
Now let us look at the legal angle and the involvement of INEC. Yes, there was somebody who was a member of the old ADC, Bala Nafiu, who decided to say, look, I'm no longer interested in this arrangement and I want to seek a redress in court. I don't feel carried along properly, I don't feel satisfied. That is within his right as a party member. Whether it's been instigated, sponsored, I don't know. But even if somebody is part of a process, and I decide to say I'm no longer interested in this process, for whatever reasons, it is within his right to go to court. And that's the right place to go to. So he went to court and got a judgment, right?
Yeah.
The judgment was said to have asked both sides, both the demand side and his side, to go to the Federal High Court for the trial. And that until that case is determined at that level, that everybody should maintain status quo, which includes INEC as the chief regulator of the political party system in Nigeria. Meaning, so the problem I see here first and foremost is that I have always consistently told the judiciary and those who man the judiciary, when you make orders, when you deliver judgment, please be very clear. Crystal clear. That if you are not, they are called lords, your lordship, your worship, your justices and all that, those don't necessarily make you a celestial body. It's only God that speaks through his prophets that will now require further interpretation through the clergy. So for instance, for a Muslim, they will say, okay, you need an ustaz to further interpret the word of God as contained in the Quran, truth I've said. You know what I mean? If you're a Christian, it's okay. You need somebody who is endowed with the Holy Spirit to be able to interpret what God said in certain parts of the Bible for you to understand clearly. This is not this case. I mean, when you issue an order, be very explicit, leave no ambiguity. The judiciary is statutorily mandated to interpret laws. So when litigants approach the court, they come and say, based on so and so law, either the law of the party, the law of the federation, any law, this is what I think is my right, so grant it to me. So the judiciary look at all claims put forward by the claimant and so can distinct and so okay, according to all the laws that is available and whatever, party A is right, party B is wrong, or party B is right, party A is wrong. You have interpreted that. So this is your own law. The law you are citing means that you are right or you are wrong. Simple and short. Then you cannot appeal to the next level appeal court and then to the highest level of the Supreme Court. But when the courts in Nigeria keep making these very ambiguous statements that they do not drive home properly, to leave no one in doubt of what they mean, for instance, by status quo ante bellum, it now gives room for further interpretation by the parties involved. And that is what has happened here. That is, they said, okay, status quo ante bellum. But I expected the justices to have drilled down further to specifically state what they mean by status quo ante bellum because of the fact before them. So what is happening there? All parties are now trying to interpret status quo ante bellum as it favors them. Now, INEC initially did nothing against the
Mark,
whatever.
Yes.
Until the other side wrote to INEC and pointed out certain elements in the judgment that may have indicated that status quo ante bellum means recognizing them rather than the mark. Now, the mark actually appealed this judgment itself.
Yes, he did.
And also wrote to INEC, making his own claim. So there are claims and counterclaims. Normally, the judgment was very straightforward, that even my teenage son can read and actually understand what the judges are saying. INEC wouldn't have taken the pain to now refer this matter now to their legal department. Okay, look at the judgment. What does it really say? Because we have to comply. We are bound by the judgment as the regulator of political party activities in Nigeria. So what does this compel us to do? So by the understanding of INEC and his legal department, it means that, okay,
do you recognize?
That is, status quo ante bellum here means before the crisis started, and according to them, the crisis started before the bank was recognized as chairman by INEC. Like this matter was already in court.
That was when Ralph Nwosu was, going at it with.
Was handing over that.
Yes.
It actually went to court. So that's what INEC is holding on to. Okay, from their own understanding. Now, for me, what is left for all the parties here, particularly the bank faction that feels as if they have been recognized, is to quickly ask the High Court, before whom this case is still pending, to grant an accelerated hearing. They should go, although they've done that already.
Yeah, because that's, yes.
Now, cite before the court why they should grant the accelerated hearing. Fine, cite INEC timetable. So look, if you do not grant this hearing and deliver this judgment, we might not be able to participate. That would have infringed on our rights because of judicial delay, Also, let them know that it is within, it is of your own interest not to be disenfranchised if they can dispense the case within certain specified time before it is within your right to do so. They've done that, and we expect the judiciary to grant that request. Because it's the right of the political party. So you can't use judicial. We have caution against this making ambiguous statements. You cannot also keep a case in abeyance when it is time bound. It is tied to timetable of INEC.
Yes.
This election. Even if it's not ADC, any political party, no matter how small, must be given that privilege, that right of fair and expeditious hearing when they come before any court of law, considering the time frame for all of these activities, because they're all time bound. They are tied to time. So I expect that the judiciary, or whoever is under case, will preside over that matter within the next 48 to 72 hours and make a definite pronouncement. If they're going to go ahead with the remark faction, fine. If they're not going to go ahead, whatever it is they want, the court decides in its wisdom and findings from the fact placed before it, they should make that definitive. And this time around, please make it very clear. Don't leave people to start giving further interpretations. It's uncalled for. All you need as an executive authority is to get the enroll order. Simple. That is, it should be stated there. Nobody needs to now give it another kind of interpretation.
Yep.
So I hope and pray that going forward, because of political matters, the judiciary will open his mouth clearly and speak for everybody to understand what they have said, beginning with the particular case before them at the High Court. So if that is granted, it saves everybody time, INEC, everybody, and everybody stress. To say, okay, the court has finally ruled, though. Everybody has heard now. There's no need for further interpretation. So whatever the court now rules, INEC is also bound to comply with. Either it goes against the remark faction or in its favor. So for me, what all this effort now should be on the judiciary to expedite this hearing, come up with a judgment before the time lapses, so that this party can have the opportunity to participate in the forthcoming election. That's not about the legal aspect. Now the political. And this for me is even more important than what I've just talked about. I don't know whether our politicians will learn lesson. Nigeria this year is a 27-year-old democracy. When I was 27, so I thought I could fly a jet without actually going to a flying school. I thought I could do it. I thought I was a Superman. I thought I could do everything. I thought I was on top of the world. I was fully matured. I mean, I felt I could be anything. I mean, even at 24, even at 23, I mean, you feel you're already a man. You feel... So at 27, you are not by any means a small child. You are an adult. Some people have ruled their countries at 27. Some people have done so many great things at 27. We've had empires in the past that were built by people at 27. Alexander the Great died at 33. About all of the exploits. 33 years old. Okay, one of the greatest figures in human history died at 33. Our Lord Jesus Christ, for instance. What am I saying in essence? A 27-year-old adult, a young adult too, is an adult. You should have learned to wash your hand properly, wash your clothes properly, and take your bath. You know, when we are children, we used to bath only our tummy because we are children. But as adults, we take our time. Everywhere is cleaned up. We spend an hour plus in the bathroom because we now know how to take care of ourselves. So I'm surprised that 27 years later, our politicians, all of whom we are part of the process since 1999, still don't know how to form political parties and how to play by the rules of political party system. I am disappointed.
Is it all our politicians that you say are bereft of that knowledge?
I'm saying those that are in this coalition,
okay,
they have all been there.
Okay.
There's no novice there. There's nobody that does love civil services. I want to come do. They have been politicians. They've been elected into offices. Some of the highest offices in land, some have occupied, and yet the simple formation of political party up till today, they still don't want to form political parties.
What did they do wrong here?
You see, a political party in a functional democracy is not a shelf item that can walk into a shop and pay the price and purchase or acquire. You remember when I was talking about ideology manifesto for how many months, how many years? This is exactly what I was talking about. You don't form a political party by going to acquire an existing structure and now try to take away the structure. That's not to form a political party. It should definitely develop communication, because if the terms and agreement between you and those that are trying to acquire from somehow goes out, they will do the kind of things you are saying them to now.
In this instance now, who because, Mark and his faction, if you call them that, some are saying there's no faction in the ADC. Mark and his faction insist that they went through all the right channels. They spoke
There's
to...
no right channel in acquiring a political party. It's not a corporate entity. It's not a business. Although in Nigeria, political parties are just SPVs for winning elections. So you can attempt to acquire it the way they have done it. The question you should ask is, David Mark, Arebe Shola, Atiku Abubakar, right? And all of that. Peter Obi. Why are you guys coming together to form a political party? What is it you have in common in terms of ideals, value system? What is it? So, do you know the reason why you don't ever hear of the name of the party chairman of the Republican Party in the US? Do you know? I doubt it. If I ask you now who's the chairman of the party of the Republican Party, you hardly will know the person. If I ask you the chairman of the Conservative Party in the UK, I'm sure you don't know that. You don't even know that. In fact, I'm sure I want you to. Do those people have party structure we have in Nigeria? They do. It's just party management structure. Political party, essentially, the attraction of political party is the ideology. Now I'm talking about, you need an ideological driven political party system now, 27 years later, after transition from military to civil rule. Nobody will come from heaven to do it for us. Meaning, all of you have been in power. Now, in reflecting on what is wrong with Nigeria, that has been made worse, in your opinion, by the current Tinubu administration and the APC, right? So what are the lessons you've learned? And what are the things you think you can do differently going forward? Discuss it, aggregate it, put it together, and simply form and register people of like mind along this direction with INEC. It no longer matter who is party chairman, who is party secretary, it doesn't matter. What matters now is the driving for the ideology behind what we intend to do. And then you communicate it through a manifesto. So for instance, I don't care who is party chairman of any party. If you tell me today that a party like ADC or any party that's been formed by these people have said they will restore subsidy on petrol. You know that Meji Dahiru will be a member of that party. I will even volunteer. In fact, I'll be a financier for my only my own 10 naira per month. I'll be contributing to the party. Because I believe in that. That's as basic as that. If you tell me today that this party says, okay, they're going to go back to the area where government is involved in the means of production, that they've realized that, okay, this one we are doing is not, it should be, I'll volunteer, I'll leave this stage for you, Somi. I'm going to be the spokesperson for free of charge. I don't want to know who's chairman or not. This is what is attracting me. It's like you being a Christian or a Muslim, or you belong to the Catholic Church. You're not a member of the Catholic Church because you nominated the parish priest of your parish now. No, it's not a business now. You are drawn by the Catholic ideals. So any parish priest that they post to you, it's Catholicism that you are interested in, not who is the parish priest. But it's also where our politicians in 2026, 27 years later, 27, are still in the old mode of doing politics based on, okay, structure. So you are coming to a party, I want to substitute everybody you've met in the party with all your members, people you think you trust, those that you think they can hand over the ticket at the primary, those that you think that be in the position of influence to influence ticket in certain directions. The same old way that the PDP, the APC, and other parties have been doing things before. And you think that you can be a true opposition party to the status quo? What exactly is the difference? Look, when this was making an attempt to become a party, a coalition party, I wrote an article as usual. And I stated it there. That ADC, that's what the article was, that ADC may not end up a coalition of chaos. That's what the article. That's about a year ago. I clearly stated it there. Look, beyond just going into the ADC, that they must go there and implement to the letter the constitution of the ADC. That is, this is not a time to go and start forming structures, displacing. No, it's not. That's not where we are. That what they should do is that the internal democratic ethos of this political party must be adhered to 100%. Meaning, first and foremost, have a very credible membership register of the party. But the time for Congress is let members file out freely wherever they are in the country and vote for their leaders locally without any attempt at imposition. That if you can go through that process, you would have taken the right step towards creating an alternative platform that begins the reform of Nigeria from within the political party itself. But what we have seen is the same way the PDP used to operate. Big manism, access politicking. It's the same thing with APC. For example, look at APC. As the governor is coming to the party, they are dissolving the ESCO of the state. Form caretaker briefly and hand over to the governor. Why these ones can survive? Because they are in power. If there are dissenters within the state, the president can call them and say, hey, okay, they've displaced your party chairman, but I come and take special advisor. Take contract. They have what they use to settle themselves. And if you want to do too much gaga, they will now look the other way and say, okay, maybe this guy, let us check whether in the last 20 years, is there any contract done with the government that they didn't complete and was paid? Meaning, carrot, or if you refuse, a stick. Or sometimes they could even ignore you, but you still align just in hope that they will remember you someday. They are loyal. They have the power of coercion. They have the power of patronage to be able to manage their own contradictions. But when we want to defeat such a structure, throw it to the people. Don't make an attempt to want to force trusted allies on a party. It doesn't work. It has not worked. Peter Obi came into the party in 2020 to the ending thereabout. He didn't impose one single ESCO in the party. But the party saw him as, okay, viable candidate. He saw him as viable platform. And they came together. The people that they met at the ESCO, he left them there behind. He met them, nobody was removed. As inconsequential as you think they are not there. And there are no big names in the party.
But how did that work out for the Labour Party at the end of the day?
They almost won the last election. Successful. One of the most successful political upsets in the history of Nigeria. Though mismanaged by those who benefit. I've always talked about it. Those who emerged beneficiaries of this system mismanaged it and has put that party in trouble. So that's a different matter. But what I'm saying is, Obi didn't have to change party chairman, substitute state chairman for him to almost win that last election. He came to, what I say almost, for a party like the party to come third in the national election against the PDP and an APC. Just give it to them. For me, they actually achieved the moral victory, sort of, the symbolic victory. That was managed a different ball game. Now, You're coming to a party and what you want to do is to take over. Like, let me give you a small snippet. I don't want to go into the partisan, backstory. But let me give you a small example that's already in the open. The Balafiu guy, who was one deputy national chairman, said, okay, now that I've been removed from national chairman, I want to be the zonal vice chairman of Northeast. And he was told that you are too small to be the zonal vice chairman of a zone, the police former vice president, former SGF. They're not going to bring Mabachiri Lawala to be vice chairman. How can the party that wants to challenge Tinubu be parading people like the names I'm calling now? To start with, you should know that anybody has served with the Buhari government. It's not going to be a sellable agent of your party. I have thought that we want to form a party. Look at what happened in the 2023 election. It began with the NSAS protest, where a group of young men came together and carried out one of the most sophisticated and successful protests in the history of Nigeria, modern history of Nigeria. Such that it got the government to abolish SARS. It kind of redesigned the polity, the civic space, sort of. Even though it ended fatally with protests, with rioters and killings and all. But something happened. That protest and the organizational skills of those who participated in it, someone found his way into the opinion movement. And also saw that organizational skill where people came together, organized themselves, contributed money, and funded their own political activities. And it was successful. We had thought that by now the opposition would have drawn from that energy to say, look, first, this is our vision for Nigeria as elder statesmen. But we need young blood to drive this vision. Therefore, why didn't you form a party that will incorporate these young men and women into the rank and file of the party seamlessly, organically, by their own choice?
But sir, I think the people came together to make up the current David Mark-led faction of the ADC would say that they did make some sort of an attempt. There was an ADA that they attempted to register with INEC, and apparently that didn't fly, and that's when they now made the move to say, okay, what are our options? And they went into ADC. We also need to consider that they were looking at the fact that it was time-bound, and they needed to put everything in place that would give them the chance to be the kind of viable opposition that Nigeria needed in 2027.
No, that's a mistake. There's what between political rivalry and a political position. Both of you belong to the same divide establishment. You're only rivaling each other for power. I'm saying if you really want to form an opposition that can move the base, it shouldn't have started with attempt to reach a party by a cluster of people like you. No. It starts by a coalition of the will that is clearly stated. Let me give you an example. The Republican Party was formed with one major agenda at the top of the list by white people in America, led by Abraham Lincoln. Abolition of slavery in America. That was the binding force. So early members of the Republican Party believed, as white people, privileged people, that slavery should be abolished. So they came together, formed this party, campaigned for it on this basis and other things, and then they won the election. And the first thing the gentleman did was to proclaim emancipation of black slaves. It led to a civil war. America divided into two, but they won the war back, they united the country. Abraham Lincoln died in the process, but that legacy stands still today. So the vision is then that black and white people are equal before God, equal creations, has benefited America today than any other country. One of the biggest strengths of America is not its missiles, it's not its nuclear arsenal. It is its soft power, characterized by sports and entertainment, dominated mostly by its black people. I've said this severally. America today is not just a superpower because of its military might, because of its cultural influence across the globe.
Are you saying that the ADC, as it is currently constituted, doesn't have one principle that they're standing on as opposition that will give them a chance?
Spokespersons today, from now till their kingdom come, they will keep telling about what Tinubu has done wrong, without providing a single solution. To the point that the media had to start pressing them. And where is your manifesto? It was after they did not start to start up a manifesto committee. Then the committee told in the report. We said, okay, better late than never. We advise that science photo, anytime you are going on air to speak about this party and against Tinubu, who are your manifesto, internalize it and tell us what is contained there as a solution. I think last time we heard about the manifesto was the day they said they've turned in the report. This is not how to run a political party. Why am I saying this? I, Majid Dahir, will not waste my energy for any political party that does not tell me what they will do differently from what Tinubu has done. I will not, because I'm not interested in oscillating back between friends turned rival. At every election cycle, I'll be a stupid person to do that, and I will not do it. And most Nigerians will not do it. Most Nigerians don't know yet that they will not do it until election comes. I will not. And that will make our democracy continuously to go into depression. I don't know what is difficult in coming together and saying, we have studied that, you are part of the system, all of you. And this is what we have discovered is wrong with the problem, with the system. I'll give a typical example. Goodluck Jonathan, former president of Nigeria. He was deputy governor between 1999 and 2005, right? Became governor when Alame Siga was impeached. He became VP in 2007, became president in 2010, re-elected in 2011, and left power by 2015. 16 years he was in power. I had a frank conversation with him when 2019 election was approaching. And he didn't hide his preference for Atiku Abubakar against the then President Buhari. And what was his reason? He said if there's any lesson he actually learned from power for 16 years, is that for any nation to develop at all, for any policy to work at all, that such a nation must be first and foremost united and nationally integrated around the common purpose of development. That a deeply divided country along tribal and religious lines cannot sustain any developmental template. Therefore, going to 2019 election, he thinks Atiku possesses the quality of being able to reunite this country from the division that we experienced between 2015 and 2019 around the sectionalism of the one president, and that he thinks that would signal more hope. So what have I said in essence? He believes that a more united Nigeria will be much more prosperous than a divided one. He now said, look, in government, you can bring up the best policy. Because of the division along tribal and, the usual lines, policies are always skewed and end up not being implemented along with its intent. Because one means I will implement it. So when it gets to my table, I will skew it from my form of my own section with me as a beneficiary. For brilliant policies end up not really achieving its aim. And this is true across the globe. For any nation to achieve any form of development, unity first is key.
So what has Atiku done differently that makes you, he's in the ADC right now. Wouldn't you still toe that line?
I'm quoting somebody who has been powerful, who has come up with, look, the one thing I can take away is that Nigeria needs to be united, meaning if Jonathan today is to float a political party or lead a political party, he would have been leading a party along this ideology of we need to be very united as a people. Assuming
his will alone will subsist in that party, because it's also a function of who else is he bringing in.
It's a coalition of the willing. So if you believe in this vision, you go and join him. It doesn't have to be a mass movement. No. If you believe in what he's just said, that truly there's a level of national integration and social cohesion that will require for things to work. If you believe in this, not everybody allows what I've said. Not everybody believes this. But if you do, as an individual, you gravitate towards that party naturally. If you believe, for instance, that look, in line with what he had just said, that residency should have supersede state of origin, so you move to that party. But if you believe that state of origin should suffice, go to the party that says so. That's no problem. That's what I compare. Which one actually that benefits Nigerians the more? What am I saying? I had thought that the rest people in that category, by then would have sat down to know that Nigeria is not about grabbing power from one party to the other. It's about there are some fundamentals that are not in place. And how do we use the instrumentality of political leadership to fix it? So this is my vision. This is what I need to do. Kagame, for instance, came on board in Rwanda after the genocide in 1994. Rwanda was always splintered along the Hutu-Tutsi line, right from before their independence. The first civil wars before, we were fighting the civil war, as a matter of fact, when the genocide broke out. What did Kagame do? He identified that, look, until this country becomes united around Rwanda's identity, we can't make progress. So what did he do? He banned tribalism. That is, he recognized that this is a fundamental issue we must overcome. So please, when Mandela came out of prison, I saw a fractured South Africa, whites, blacks, even among the blacks, Zulu, Amahosa, and all that. He realized that the unity of all South Africans, including his white population, would be very key for national development and continuous prosperity. So what did he do? He didn't set out to avenge against white people what was done to him. 27 years in prison. He lost his life, lost his marriage, lost everything. But he decided to look at the larger picture and build a country that is not dominated by white people, neither is dominated by black people. Fundamental national unity. What am I saying? Today, Nigeria lacks that fundamentally. I would have expected that any political party today would have been very rich in this vision to say, look, guys, hey, it's not about Tinubu, it's not about anybody, but come. Let us rebuild our country from the basis. So this is our vision, oh. And if you key into it, Corbett. What I'm saying is, when you force with a political party, you don't need to be party chairman to hold any position or to be relevant. It is this vision that keeps your aspiration relevant. Now, we have more than enough fans in diaspora that can come and help build such political parties around this vision in a manner that will be immune from external life interferences. It's there. But our leaders today are still angry that some of their counterparts, some of their partners, some of their colleagues in the establishment are eating alone while they are out in the cold. And I'm saying I will not die in the war of former friends turned foes. Look at the lineup. They were all friends in the past now. Some were in PDP, some were in APC.
So basically what you're saying, Dr. Majid, is that the ADC as it is cannot churn out anything by way of opposition that can take out this current presidency because of the manner in which it was formed in the first place.
Definitely. What are the inspiring figures in the party that inspires you to say, okay, let us see. What I'm saying this is, why would not expect against to form from heaven? No? But if you watch it, Lawal is telling me something new. The way Goodluck Jonathan said this to me, I'm using it as an example to show you that, okay, I now had a different view of Goodluck Jonathan. So, okay, yes. This is a man that has been there, done that, and now realize that going forward, we need to fix this. If you observe Jonathan's foundational activities, it is almost centered around national unity.
I mean, I hear you, sir, but you talk about the fact that he mentioned an article, his belief.
Compared with Buhari at the time.
At the time,
he said, going to this election,
okay,
Atiku will be a better choice than Buhari.
Okay.
Because Atiku has the capacity at the time to be a unifier. And truly, I campaign for Atiku in 2019 because I believe it was a unifier where Buhari was a divider. This is my opinion.
Is the idea of one person in the party being a unifier, is it completely absent in the ADC as it's currently constituted? Because you still have a huge following around certain figures in the party.
What we are saying is, I don't need to test this pudding bar to know its taste. I already see where it's going to end.
Okay.
Look, the process already lead to the formation of the party. It's not that it will end up like APC and PDP. And I'm saying, why is it difficult for people to turn a new leaf? Why can't you have a political party that comes across as having a fundamental ideal of national rebate that people can freely key into? You see, in 2015, it was more symbolism around the personality of Buhari. He's disciplined, he's incorruptible, he's a retired general. So what we are challenging in Nigeria now is security and corruption. So this one is fine. People alone, we are swayed by that.
In 2023?
In 2023, Obi is different. You see, he buys fuel by himself, meaning he consumes money. He does not waste money. He does not use convoy. He does not do this. He's decent. So people felt, at least what can be your resources better.
And you're not seeing that in 2027?
What I'm saying is, we have tried this too. Without realizing that beyond individual character and symbolism, a vision is required.
Okay.
A more compelling vision where, for instance, everybody at Kwabo can key into this common vision and be moved enough to say, okay, based on this vision, based on these ideals, I think I can make the sacrifice to substitute what we have now with this. I'm saying, if it's not compelling enough, those that I'm speaking to now will not realize now. On election day, but then you wake up and realize that, okay, who am I really going to vote for? What am I voting for? What exactly am I voting for? You may not want to vote for the incumbent, but you are not motivated enough to go and vote against the incumbent. So what happens? The incumbent will mobilize his own people and have a field. In fact, he does have a bazaar on that day. So I'm trying to, look, what I'm saying there is, I'm doing a free service for the opposition to say, the only way you can remove these guys in power is to follow this route, not the one you're following now.
Okay, sir.
So the court cases are part.
Yes.
There was no court case.
Yes.
This would have done very well in the next election.
The court cases apart, do you think that it's not too late to turn around for ADC right now? Or is the idea for an entirely new party to be formed to do this?
On the judiciary. But let me tell you something.
The judiciary or INEC? Is INEC completely removed from this process?
INEC
because
is obeying court order as it understands. Why I give a background? Next time, judiciary, please make a pronouncement that is very clear. So if INEC now decide to implement it wrongly, I would have been here quoting sections of the law that clearly shows that INEC is wrong. But when it's ambiguous, and INEC says, okay, this is how we understand it, I can't fault INEC in that regard. Because you make it ambiguous. So make it clearer. So I'm saying, the way I'm going to deliver at the High Court now, make it very clear. You're not a God. Speak clearly. You don't need to do further tafsir on your statement.
Okay. We need to go to the phone lines now so that we can hear from the people themselves. 0809-597-4869. And on WhatsApp, the number is 0809-993-0137. Let's get your thoughts on this. We're looking at the current developments in the ADC as it stands. Remember, court cases on the one hand, protests and petitions submitted on the other hand. And on another end, you have a new faction rearing its head. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Somi and Dr. Majid.
Welcome.
My name is Adebari Awode, calling from Dede.
All right, sir, you have a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say this, that with the people that form this coalition in ADC, with their political experience and all that, I want Dr. Majid to know that they will have tidied up all the loose end. I don't think they will lose guard. But the point here is that the sitting government and...
Mr. Adebari, are you there? Okay, we have to move on. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome.
And good afternoon, Dr. Majid. My name is Emeka.
Go ahead, Emeka. Go ahead.
The thing is, if a witch cries at night and in the morning the child dies, I will not begin to second guess what happened. The essence or the reason why this is happening, the man we are talking about, the Nafiu Gombe, the one of the faction leader, he was in the meetings of the ADC when this issue of David Mark, when the leadership was constituted. He was there, attended 5 meetings, and gave his consent. But why all of a sudden they say he wanted Northeast deputy chairman, Northeast deputy chairman, Northeast. He couldn't get it then. He allowed himself to be used. Now he's going about with convoy, staying in transport. And the reason why they are doing this, you see one of the reasons why they want to decapitate ADC. Labour is gone, PDP is gone, ANPP is gone, it's now ADC. Is because if you want to, because there's still going to be a problem in APC. Because everybody cannot be governor, everybody cannot be senator. People who feel aggrieved, who are original in the party, will not want people who just came in to overshadow them. So they don't want them to have anywhere to run to fall back to. And ADC is the next alternative to run. So the ADC is being decapitated. So nobody will run to anywhere.
Okay.
When they are being cheated or we still have to remain in APC. That's the reason.
All right.
Let's tell ourselves the truth. Thank you very much, Doctor, for that.
Thank you, Mecca. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome,
Somi.
sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon to Dr. Majid.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Salasi.
Welcome, Selassie. Go ahead.
I always appreciate your analysis every day. For what is happening in opposition, we can hear the voice of Jacob, but the hand of Esau. And if we are running a race, if you are running an athletic, your opposition, you tie their feet, and at the end you say you are a champion, you are not a champion, no. Me, the area of my concern now is not even about this 2027. My concern is about the security. You can see how people are being killed every day. And what is the government doing about the killing that has been going on? Is it not the living that will vote for the people to come to power? Jonathan, I respect Jonathan. Jonathan was a true Democrat. He allowed it to fly. And now we have people that say they fought for Democrats, the Democrat. But look at what is happening.
Okay.
So the Lord Almighty God will help us. Provide security for us. That is the area of my concern.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Selassie. Is there no other party the coalition can quickly adopt to run with before the elections in 2027? Must they use ADC? Moses from Kabusa is asking. Hello. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Salim.
Welcome, sir. You have a minute. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dr. Majid.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I just want to remind you that this is how APC was formed. We are all matured. We know how APC jumped, struggled, and whatever. And this is how PDP, because remember that these people have the formed coalition. They are all from PDP, most of them. They paid for somebody to destroy PDP, and now that they went to register ADA, another party. The INEC then refused to register them because of the government in power. They refused to register any party for them. That is, they went to SDC. SDC now they went and now removed the chairman, and now they came to now this new ADC now, and this is what is happening. Because if you check very well, this is how they are doing the politics since 1999. They are trying to suppress the opposition always, and this is not democracy. We should allow democracies to exist. As you mentioned earlier, in America now, I can even if you give me how many more, I don't know the chairman of the Republican and Democrat. I don't know the name of their chairman. But in Nigeria, you first hear the name of the chairman and whatever for every party. So that is our nature, and that is Africa for you. Suppressing what is not supposed to be suppressing.
Okay.
So I think we should change our way of politics. That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much. The question then is when is this change going to happen? Is it too late for that change to happen? Just like Moses from Kabusa was asking, if it is an ADC matter, can they go into another party before the elections and make it, or is it still going to be the same thing?
Don't go there and attempt to displace the executive ESCO that were elected, that have an existing tenure. You don't go and do a total takeover. Convince the members of the party that, look, this is our vision. Do you share our vision?
But can it happen right now? Is it too late?
Don't
It's not late.
Attempt to put chairman and the secretary and the president with your people. Share a vision with them to say, look, this is our pathway to a developed Nigeria. Do you share with us? Yes.
Okay,
we're going to come in as your members.
All right. We'll come back and continue this conversation. Don't go anywhere. It's Hard Facts, the midweek special with Dr. Majid Dahiru, and we'll be back.
Friend, we are textile look that your ceiling con raising am. If you no like am, then no be we make am. For Eminent Limited, our ceiling they last.
Audio
they said the new one will take a longer time. That was what they agreed. And moved into ADC. So if the man that wanted to register ADA on his own now, Dr. Bakind or somebody, maybe he didn't meet up with INEC regulations or whatever, how is that supposed to be my problem? Then how would I just against INEC? How did Dixon, a member of the opposition, a vocal member of the opposition, register his own party recently? How did he do it?
So basically, all these claims of, they're constantly being blocked by INEC, you're saying are not tenable. Because
I'm giving you an example. Or is Dixon working for Tinubu as well? How did Dixon decide his own party?
Well, maybe he's not considered a strong enough person to go against the party, and that is why they may not pay him any mind. But really and truly, can we honestly say that INEC is not how would I put it now, complicit when it comes to who gets registered in terms of parties, because there are
clear guidelines. If
yes.
You talk with you, they register you. The back ago never wanted to register a political party. They chose to adopt an existing one. That was their decision. And they said ADA should be, that man should pursue ADA by himself.
But there was an initial conversation about ADA.
And I said, these people decided not to pursue that option, that it would take a long
They decided.
And they now said to go and shop for an existing party to procure. And I'm telling you that you do not procure a political party like what you buy from the shelf. It is a wrong methodology.
So that the fact that they decided to procure it is not the problem, is the way they went about it.
Tell me what you want to do as a political party. Tell me your idea. Tell me your vision. People will gravitate towards that vision. And you go to INEC and say, we have made a threshold for registration. My job here is not to come and satisfy your sentiments or your ego. It is to tell you how it is done properly.
Okay. Let's take a pause on that.
Otherwise, you will be here for 30 years and you will hand over a rusty Nigeria to our children. I am telling you that there is a failure of opposition in Nigeria. I want a failure of government. I've been saying it for a long time. And this is saying it today.
All right, we need to take a pause.
I criticize government and I criticize opposition. And I tell both sides how to go about doing the right thing.
It's time for the news, Dr. Majid. We'll be back to continue with the conversation.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been a carryover for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those households, why are they not following up their job? Like
the intense conversation.
It has to be given to her now based on sentiment. These are some of the challenges that women go through on a daily basis.
Okay, bro.
And that
all and more on Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
It is the Hard Facts midweek special this afternoon on your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. And we've started off the conversation with the developments in ADC, where today a group of some of the big wigs in the party protested all the way to INEC office and dropped a petition. Details of the petition not made known, but we understand that there is a clamor for the David Mark led faction of the party to be recognized, while at the same time, as of yesterday evening, if you will, another faction supporting, said to be in support of Dumebi Kachuku, who was the presidential candidate for 2023, also came out to say, yes, what is happening is what should be happening in the ADC right now. And it's like everybody it's a case of if you don't want to let me go, then nobody will go through. But we will continue with your contributions to the conversation, but we need to take the second story very quickly and then we'll go back to the phone lines. One other key thing that happened yesterday, I know a number of people that did not sleep because of the threat by Donald Trump to sort of end a civilization, to end a civilization. And we're looking at the developments coming after that. Thankfully, he did not follow through with his threat, but it said that threat did not happen because there was an intervention. The Pakistani, some Pakistani representatives made it possible for a conversation to be had. An agreement was reached on a ceasefire that would last 2 weeks. The ceasefire is said to bring to an end, at least temporarily, a war that has killed thousands of people across the Middle East since it began on 28th of February. Today made it day 40 of that war. But there is a ceasefire in place. It is a precarious one. And I think last time we had you on the show, sir, it was the U.S. talking about a 15-point plan. Now the Iranians are said to have put forth a 10-point plan, which Donald Trump seems to be, considering. We want to look at those possible points. And I say possible because it hasn't entirely been made public, but there are elements of it that are currently under discussion. And I would like to discuss it with you as well. So, yes, a 10-point proposal by Iran was brought out in response to a 15-point proposal by the U.S., both through Pakistani intermediaries. And the conditions published by Iranian state media include, 1, the lifting of all primary and secondary sanctions on Iran, continued Iran control over the Strait of Hormuz, a full withdrawal of U.S. military forces from the Middle East, an end to all attacks on Iran and its allies, the release of frozen Iranian assets, and the adoption of the United Nations Security Council resolution making any final deal binding under international law. The proposal also reportedly contains a plan for Iran to give up its highly enriched uranium, stop enriching uranium beyond 2.5% needed for civilian energy, and allow for inspection of its facilities by the IAEA, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency. Also, one thing under consideration, according to this report, is that Iran and Oman will be allowed to charge a transit fee of up to $2 million per vessel passing through the Strait of Hormuz, with the revenue earmarked for post-war reconstruction. Now, if these peace negotiations collapse, Tehran says that it reserves the right to close the strait again. Now, we've also had conflicting reports, the U.S. on their own end claiming some kind of unequivocal American victory, while Iran on their own end also claiming some sort of victory by virtue of this agreement that has been reached. And so the question for you, sir, is how far do you see this going this time around? There have been implications across the world. It's not just oil that is affected. That is one thing that people have not quite understood. Everything from food to fertilizer, everything has been affected by this. And also, we've also seen, sort of like agitation on the part of Trump specifically. Before this plan was reached, the things that he was saying he was going to do, he was, coming under a lot of criticism to say you can't threaten an entire civilization and all of that. But how far do you think it's going to get this time around?
So, last time I was here,
yes,
I told you that the primary reason for this conflict has to do with Israeli national security vis-a-vis the Israeli-Palestinian issue.
And you proposed the solution, and they're clearly not thinking in that direction. So as it is today.
What was this all about? So what all this effort Iran put in place to defend this is to show his military might, to strike at Israel and all that, didn't contain one demand from Iran to say, okay, part of the demand I want is to establish an independent state of Palestine. It's not in that demand. And I told you what Iran is struggling for now, it is its own national survival. So all of the demand from Iran, as we speak, has to do with its own national security and national economy. So first, the principle I've always said guides every country. That is, ab initio, Iran does not share any contiguous border, either maritime or land, with Israel or even the Palestinian territories. So in getting involved in the dispute between the Israeli and the Arabs over Palestine and the other ancillary issues, the kind of role Iran was playing should have been more circumspect about its role it was playing, rather than putting itself at the center of the activity based on religious doctrines. What I'm saying now, a lot of people will not be happy, but I keep telling, I don't come out to make people happy. I want to state it as it is. Only for Iran now to be demanding for his own national interest strictly, and the right to control the Strait of Hormuz, collect taxes and tolls. Therefore, he's within his right to want to do that, since it's a military power around that zone. No, I told you that this conflict that is escalating will relegate the Palestinian issue back to the bottom of this conversation. And nobody, if people don't forget, the world will move ahead and forget about the issue of Palestinians. I want that when October 7 will happen, that this will further kick the can of Palestinian question down the road aimlessly. It is happening in all of these conversations. And guess what? This is what Israel actually wants. This is Israel's long-term goal, to keep Iran busy enough to mind its business at home. This is what it wanted. This is all it wanted. They wanted to keep Iran busy, make it uncomfortable enough, so as for Iran now to fight for its own survival and leave us alone here. That was the strategic goal of Israel in getting America to launch this war against Iran. That was all. People don't understand when we speak, we don't forget of sentiment. Now I said the Abraham Accords should be revisited, where there was a pledge for all Muslim countries, Arab countries, to collectively, that's those that have recognized Israel in exchange for a state of Palestine, where there will be peace and security on both sides. So today, I'm speaking for the Palestinian people, because people think that some of us don't have sympathy for Palestine. I say, no. If you're going about it the wrong way, I'll first of all try to point out the wrong route you are following to salvation. This road you are following cannot get you to salvation. It is only peace. Because when you have peace, when there's peace around Israel, Netanyahu will be forced out of power democratically. Israel is a democracy. The only reason that sustains Netanyahu in power today is the hostility Israel is facing from its neighbors. And Netanyahu has proven to be that daredevil kind of leader that's ready to take the war to the enemies. The moment such hostilities are reduced, there are lots of people in within the Israeli border, citizens of Israel, Jewish people, that are anti-war, that do not want to war with Iran or another person, who wants peace and settlement with Palestinians. They've demonstrated it once before, twice before, thrice before. The Oslo Accords between Chairman Yasser Arafat and Prime Minister, what's his name now? The one that was Isaac Rabin.
Isaac Rabin, yes.
Yes, proved clear that there are Israeli factions. He was the leader of the Labour Party of Israel. Until today, the Labour Party of Israel still has as a cardinal point settlement, two-state solution with Palestinians. It's part of the cardinal point. So the day the Israelis now said that we have enough room to make peace, that the peace we want from our neighbors is enough, they will tilt their support towards the party that wants to lead the pathway to peace. And once you vote in the party today in Israel, that party would put in place processes to realize the state of Palestine as a lasting solution to the peace and security of Israel itself. But as long as there is external pressure, it will harden the positions of people like Netanyahu and others like him. But once the position from outside solve things, it will neutralize people like Netanyahu because, okay, there are no more warmongering. Nobody is threatening Israel. Israel to exist anymore. So what basis are you going to campaign to remain in power? There's no basis. So we need to go back to that basis of peace. All of us must accept peace. The right of Israel to exist, the right of Palestinians to exist side by side. And the two must be democratic states that are plural, that are secular. You know why? There are Arabs living in Israel, Muslim Arabs, Arab Christians, that are citizens of Israel. They must continue to enjoy equal rights with their Jewish majority counterparts. Similarly, if there's going to be a Palestinian state tomorrow, there will be Jews already living in West Bank that will form part of the Palestinian state. Those as we have Arabs on the other side. Those Jews must also enjoy the right of democratic citizenship, fundamental human rights, within a democratic Palestinian secular state, even though it's Arab dominated. These are ethos of modern nation building. But like I said, like I predicted, this whole crisis will relegate the Palestinian question to the background, though. Because Iran is only trying to survive. If anyone tells you Iran didn't suffer damages in this war, the person is just deceiving himself. But what Israel tries to achieve is what they've achieved ultimately. Iran now is trying to protect his own national security and does not have the time now to be looking out for Israel and for Palestine or demanding it. So that is what Israel actually wanted.
So based on that, we should see this ceasefire leading to the end of this war.
It depends, because the primary aim for Trump is the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
The Strait of Hormuz does not affect Israel. It affects the rest of the world. Trump is trying to manage the economy at home. There's rising energy costs and co. But that is just a temporary relief. Trump is still going to find a way around continue this war with Iran.
Trump or Israel?
Both of them. Because there's a strategic capability that Iran has displayed that America and Israel will want to collectively decapitate once and for all. As we speak, each time there's a pause in this crisis, both sides are activating their intelligence network to find out the secret behind the weapons capabilities of Iran. Until they get to the root of the secret, how Iran is able to respond firmly and fiercely, this war will not end. But what I'm saying is, to end this war, before the Iranian state itself now to now realize what Arabs faced between 1949 and 1973 when they went to war thrice against the state of Israel on behalf of Palestinians. So Arabs today are not just cowards as people are trying to make them look. No, they fought hard. First, it was like, we don't want Israel to exist at all, the first war. Second one, the same thing. But after the second war, they now said, okay, let us now restore the state of Palestine along the 1967 borders. So went to war a total in 1973, and we were all collectively defeated by the young state of Israel. Almost like a David versus a Goliath kind of situation. One small state. You know, Israel is so small that Israel as a name is not able to be contained in the map of Israel. That's how small Israel is. You can walk across Israel in a day as a whole country. Compared to the vast Arab states all over surrounding it. Yet it was able to survive their onslaught. So Arabs learned the hard way to say, look, you cannot defeat this people militarily, not today. So they now opted for either peace or passive hostility. Now, Iranians came in 1979 and felt that they didn't do better. They could have done much better than they did. And for the first time, Iran has gone to war twice with Israel, headlong. Compare the death toll compare the demonstration on both sides, it is uneven. No matter how you look at it. So they have not seen what this other guy has faced before, which made them to now become ambivalent towards Israel. So okay, if I'm not going to be friends with them, we won't be the enemies. I keep telling people that those that want Saudi to go to war with Israel, say, come. You think if Israel flies its fighter jet over the holy sites of Mecca and Medina, you think if they drop the bomb will not drop? So what do you know the psychological damage it will do to millions of Muslims to witness our holy sites that we believe is protected directly by God? So now you understand why these countries are a bit careful in going to war, because they are carrying egg and oil. So what am I saying in that sense? To bring this whole solution, this whole crisis to an end, will be for Iran after a while to reassess its foreign policy objectives in the Middle East, particularly as it concerns Israel and Palestine, and opt for a peaceful resolution, not a hostile resolution. Israel exists, but it is now time to give Palestinians their own independent country side by side, where we like this will guarantee your security. We will not be parting to any hostility towards you, but please yield to them. Let us go back to that conversation. Then the whole world can now put pressure on Israel to say, okay, everybody has agreed now. Your last enemy in the region was Iran. Iran is now saying, okay, we now agree for it to exist, but let Palestine exist.
Okay.
That will be the end to end this entire cycle of violence.
All right, sir.
It's not about state of Hormuz alone. This is the core issue. Look, the same way Iran considers America the bigger Satan and Israel the small Satan, Israel considers Iran the big Satan that is the mother of small Satans like Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad. So they want to now go for that big Satan as if they can decapitate it so that it will stop breastfeeding this small Satan. It's the same thing. They want to exist. And I'm saying, Palestinians here should be the focus. After all these years of bloodshed, if that matter remains in abeyance, because there are some territories that are in abeyance, and the world has moved on. Let me tell you, Western Sahara and West Africa here is a disputed territory. They think they are independent, but Morocco says we are our territory. The world has moved on, somehow. The world has moved on. Initially, Nigeria and other EU countries tried to support Western Sahara, but after a while, we have our own problems at home, so we have abandoned that quest. The world has moved on. Look at the situation in countries like Pakistan and India, and the disputed territory, and the disputed territories there. Kashmir, for instance, India control Kashmir, Pakistani control Kashmir. The world has moved on. They have considered to these two powers the right to hold these territories. Yes, look at Tibet and India and China. There are many disputed territories all over the world. It's not only Palestine. Before the world moves on and say, look, let us look. We have too many things to contend with. We need to use the opportunity to go back to this issue, because this was the root of the crisis. And I'm saying peace, peace, peace. Everybody now must now agree after this war to let's give peace a chance in the interest of the state of Palestine and its realization.
All right, sir. Let's get back to the phone lines and the WhatsApp messages. We're going to be doing just this all the way up until the end. Good afternoon. On Iran, the proposal will not make headway because there seems to be bogus and unrealistic. I'm very sure everybody is just taking a break to resume back to war. Iran is the major cause. This war having been funding and terrorizing Israel through Hamas and Hezbollah. Egypt made peace with Israel and are living in peace. OGB1 with that message. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, call me back. Good afternoon. All right. Let's get to the messages then. We'll take this one all the way from here. Good day, Somi and Dr. Majid. Dr. Majid, you blame the leaders of the ADC, led by David Mark, for not following the right channel by registering a political party, but simply acquiring a political party. I hope you were here. The frustration ADA political organization faced in an attempt to register it by the then INEC chairman. Why are you not seeing the hand of Esau in the travail of the leaders of the opposition? For me, this is the way politics should be played. I'm seeing the way Abacha wanted to succeed himself playing out in this political dispensation. James Ahua with that one. And let's see this one here. Somi and Dr. Majid, I salute you. This is a very important variable that is disturbing our political system. We have not unearthed it. Let me explain it with what late Debbie of Nigeria Info X-rayed when she was anchoring a program. She said a white anthropologist threw something of value out and promised to reward any of the children that will bring the first valuable... What is this? The first child got to where the valuable thing was, but refused to bring it. She waited until all the children assembled and they put their hands together and took the valuable thing to the white anthropologist. The anthropologist asked the first child that got to the valuable item first why she didn't alone bring it, and the girl replied, saying Ubuntu, arguing that it was in their belief and culture to do things together and communally. Okay. I'm going to leave your message there. I believe it's been passed. Thank you, Professor Majid, for your submissions. Clear and good vision will drive this Nigerian project to a safe landing. Dr. Mani with that one. And Khalito is disagreeing. He says, on the principles of forming the party, I disagree with the speaker on the principles of forming the party as ADC. I think you have your opinion on that, but I think the best way to win the election is coming together as they all did. All right. Let's take some calls. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
More conversation.
Yes. Could you hang on, please? Could you hang on? Let's take the commercial very quickly and come back to you. Thank you.